For part two, we're going to talk more about the nurture of eating. And I think my simplest analogy for the nurture of eating is a lot of people say, well, set point theory, you can explain all the eating behavior in that way, and it's all biologically based. But think about it. When you're out at a dinner, you get completely full. Your VMH is saying, okay, turn off, stop eating now. The chocolate dessert comes out. As humans, what do we do when the chocolate dessert comes out? Even if we're completely full, I gotta have some of that. The biologically based theories cannot explain that. Biology-based theories say that eating behavior is controlled by the brain and by physiology. But for human beings, I would contend that a lot of eating behavior is not simply biologically based. We have an obesity epidemic going on right now. People are obese all over the place, especially Americans. So the biology theories need to be adjusted in a way. And, the best model that we have out there is one of the handouts, one of the pages. The best one I found is called the leaky barrel model of eating and weight control. And if you look at the picture, you can kind of summarize this in your notes. The amount of water entering the hose is analogous to the amount of available food. Do we have a lot more food available in this day and age? Yes, a lot more fatty food as well. 2, the water pressure is analogous to the incentive value of the food. TV commercials, ads, social settings, there's a whole lot of incentive value to the food now. People want to eat just to be friendly and social at the holidays, X, Y, and Z. We see beautiful people eating all these things. So this is what I really like about this particular theory. It shows the psychology of eating. 3, the amount of water entering the barrel is analogous to what you're consuming. People are consuming a ton. The water level is how much we have in body fat. 5, the amount of water leaking. That's how much energy is being expended. And boy, compared to 40, 50 years ago, we are sitting behind our desks, working on computers, working on iPhones. There's no energy being expended, and so that leads to people being overweight. So the leaky barrel model, I think, is a lot more viable as far as a model of people eating and what's going on in the brain. So see if you can write that out and summarize that as well. The next realm that I wanted to go into is basically weight loss situations. And I asked you to look up some products. And so what I wanted to do, and we've got the handouts on all these things, what I'd basically like you to do, and I'll make some comments on each one of these, we're going to talk about the psychopharmacology first of some of these products. Rx.com has some good information on this. So basically, you guys identified most of the products that we look at here. Let's see if I can pull them up from the notes. Let's see. I think I have somewhere in here, but I can't locate it quite yet. I'll put it on pause for a second. Okay, there it is, right under the leaky barrel. Belvic. Belvic is a product that if you look at the details here, and what I want you to basically do for each one of these products, type out either a little paragraph or 3 or 4 key points for each one of these. Belvic is a serotonergic 2C receptor. So this is the whole idea that if you can get receptor specific, we know serotonin tends to be secreted when you're full, that if you can go to a specific receptor and fix that receptor, maybe you can fix a behavior. And so this is very type reductionistic here. And that's the idea behind Belvic. You can read about the trial here. They actually did behavior modification as well. Kind of summarize the main ideas behind it as you read through that particular situation. Another drug that has been looked at, and some of you identified this well. What is it? Kismia? So Kismia is phentermine. Phentermine and Topamax. And boy, this is a weird situation for me because phentermine is actually a pretty nasty kind of product coming into the body. I believe it's an opioid type product that's being used here. Let's see if they actually give the details here on the psychopharmacology. Maybe I should have you go to the website and see what's going on. The Topamax is actually an anti-epileptic product. And so in this way, this seems to cause some side effects of weight loss here. But boy, this seems to be kind of a big deal here that these products aren't really typically used for eating, but kind of some of the side effects are almost this way, that you're taking an anorexic product to get some weight loss here. So there are lots of side effects that you guys documented. See if you can summarize the clinical trials here that are going on. And boy, there are a lot of possible side effects of this situation here. So one would have to be pretty careful. It looks like the effect of phentermine on weight management, it says, is by catecholamines in the hypothalamus. They don't know exactly how or why, but boy, pretty dangerous stuff, I would actually have to say. And then the next one that we have here, let's see what we got on the hit list here. Contrave, which is what one of you identified as well. Let me see if I've got the handout on that. So Contrave has basically naltrexone, which is actually an opioid antagonist, and bupropion, which is a weak inhibitor, blocks the reuptake of dopamine and norepinephrine. This seems to be part of things going on inside the hypothalamus. But once again, the idea of taking a product that's an opioid antagonist and a neural effect of that, there could be lots of side effects. So these drugs are, not the greatest in the world, but they do actually have an effect on motivation and some other things as well. So they might be useful. And then last but not least, we have Saxenda. Saxenda, we've got the details here, works like glucagon. It's actually a diabetes product, Loractitude, but actually in this case they found it was useful for obesity as well. And so read up on that one, kind of summarize what's going on, summarize the clinical trial for that, and how they got it approved. So for each one of these, you'd want to go through it and summarize the nature of it and talk about that in a reasonable way. Surgery. Surgery can work for people. It's very, very expensive. You have to, after you go through the surgery, you have to keep doing the right behaviors. Some people do, some people don't. Summarize the abstract I got about that one. And then last but not least, room for us as cognitive psychologists. Things like Weight Watchers, setting goals. Do you know about Weight Watchers? I've been through it before. Weight Watchers, you go into the weekly meetings, they weigh you, so you have accountability. You basically self-monitor what you're eating every day, and you get points for that. So my bacon double cheeseburger, fries, onion rings during my bike ride would be a gazillion points. And if you're only supposed to have 25 points a day, then that's probably going to cause problems. And the idea is you monitor that every day, so you learn by self-monitoring what you need to control. You go to the meetings once a week. Weighing in is giving you accountability. And then you have meetings where you get social support and education and knowledge on what to do. So that's very useful as well. But unfortunately now, people don't show up to weekly meetings. They're certainly on the outskirts of things. So we have all these particular options for eating behavior. The biology we know about, and it has a lot to do with things. These drugs are somewhat useful, but once again, the problem with eating behavior is you cannot assume type reductionism. Fix this receptor, fix this behavior. It's not like Parkinson's disease where we know exactly what's going on. There's a lot of social cues going on and a lot of behavioral, emotional things going on. How many of you have eaten a bunch of stuff when you're depressed or happy? So there's very much a psychological component to eating behavior in our society, and that's obviously what we need to address. So form your outline based on these two things, and hopefully that'll cover it. Thanks. Bye-bye.